Okay, welcome to American Kenpo Yellow Belt lesson number 9. We're going to go over checking the storm as well as the technique Mace of Aggression. So let's bow and get started. Okay, so the first technique we're going to go over not the first technique, but the first technique of this lesson we're going to go over of Yellow Belt is called checking the storm. Now for my Kenpo students out there that are in the White Tiger system, you'll be really familiar with this technique. It's pretty much the same as windmill guard C. As far as the concept goes, it's just the angles and technique is slightly different depending on the instructor that's teaching it. So, checking the storm is for an overhead club attack. Now keep in mind when you're dealing with Kenpo techniques, the term storm will always refer to some type of a club attack, whether it's an overhead club attack, a side club attack, a thrusting club attack, a backhand, it doesn't really matter. The name of the technique will have the term storm in it, and that's how you know you're dealing with a club attack. Now, checking the storm is because we're going to check the hand that has the overhead club attack, and they're going as a step through overhead. So it's a right hand, so they're assuming that the right hand has the club and your right leg is going to be forward as they do this technique. Now, depending on the instructor with this technique will depend on how the initial move will be done. So let's start with the first variation. One way this is taught as two different moves. The first move, which is similar to our windmill guard C, is where you step with your right foot somewhere between the 2:30 and 3 o'clock position. This is really going to depend on your own height compared to theirs. So you need to make sure you don't step out too far or angle off too much so that you can still kick the groin, because your first strike is a front snap kick to the groin. And they're going to do it with a inward, or sometimes it's an inward, sometimes they use a crossbody parry for this particular move depending on how the instructor likes to do it. We're going to just use a crossbody parry, and then they're going to be in an extended outward block, and they're going to be in what we would call a hard bow or for a forward bow for them. Then from there, then they bring the leg up into a cat stance. So their first move is similar to our windmill block. Then they bring the cat stance in and they line up the cat stance with the opponent's groin. Sometimes this will be referred to as a 45-degree cat because you're not pointing it straight ahead. You're pointing it at slightly at an angle, lining it up with your target. So that's your first move. So it's 1, 2, try to grab if you can, but it's not a part of the technique. It's just something I like to always try to teach my students, is to always try to grab a handle whenever possible and draw into that cat stance. Then from there, you're going to do a front snap kick to the groin, and you're going to set your foot down into a twist stance. And they're going to stay in tight with the opponent because they're thinking that you're going to hit the guy in the groin, he's going to back up just a bit on you. And then you're going to come in and do a knife edge kick to the inside of the thigh or the outside of the leg around the above the knee, and then they follow it with a backhand or a back knuckle to the face. So again, the first variation, you're going to do 1, 2, you're going to slide in, line your kick up with the groin, front snap kick the groin, land into a twist stance, bring your knee up, knife edge to the knee, back knuckle to the face, and then as always, they do their cross out. So again, this is called checking the storm. It's an overhead club attack. So the first thing we're going to try to do is, as we do this, is we're getting out of the point of contact. Okay, then we're going to do a block. Now, there again, depends on the instructor. Now, when you do a check like this and you don't grab the hand or you don't have control of the arm, there's always that possibility that the guy that has the club, if he knows what he's doing with the stick, which isn't really common in the street, but if it can happen, is he could slide that stick and attack the rib cage or underneath the arm. So they may keep this hand in a little bit tighter, and they'll keep this hand over here trying to protect that side as they go into their kick. Kick, twist, snap, back fist, cross out. The other way this is done, and it's done the exact same way except for the initial move, is they will immediately step to the side, to there again to the 2 or 3 o'clock position depending on your leg length. So you're lined up, you don't want to be too far away, you want to be right where you can do a solid kick. And they do this as one move. Okay? It's not two separate moves, and it's more of the 45-degree kick, or cat stance. Then the cat with the front snap, twist stance still, knife edge, back fist using the drop of body weight, or what they call marriage of gravity, as you do a back knuckle to the face, and then you cross out. Now, on a side note on this, some instructors, after they do the technique, so you've done your block, your kicks, and you've done your back knuckle, then from here, instead of bringing the hand back, they'll back knuckle and strike with a forearm down onto the opponent's arm with the stick, so that they'll let the stick go. And then they'll do the cross out. So you may see some instructors do a back fist strike. As they hit the back fist, they'll just use that drop and hit that arm to let it loose, and then they do the cross out. Okay, again, checking the storm. We're going to show both ways. The first is you step 1, 2, draw a cat, kick, twist stance, knife edge, back knuckle, strike the arm to let that stick go if they still have a hold of it, followed by your cross out. Then the second way that this is sometimes taught is this one move, extended outward block, 45-degree cat, which means you're not pointed right at 12. It's off-center just a bit. The hand will sometimes be under here to protect the ribs in case they bring that stick under and over. Kick, twist, knife edge, back knuckle, and the cross out. And that is called checking the storm. Now the next technique is called mace of aggression. Now, mace is usually your hand. It's a hammer fist. Okay, so you got a hammer fist coming in right to the nose, and that's the term mace. The aggressive part on this is, up until now, everything we've done has usually been a retreat method. In other words, we've stepped back or we stepped off to the side. We've retreated from the attack. And this time we're not going to retreat, we're going to go in on the attack because they're grabbing you. So as soon as they grab you, you're going to push and pull. So what we want to do is, as they time this, they're pulling you in. Your left hand's going to pin the arms, coming across all the way, and at the same time as they pull you in, you're going to step forward, right, with a right hammer fist or mace to the nose. Then from here, you're going to strike the arms down. Right forearm strike to the arms. That should continue to let it go. If it hasn't, it still is going to bring that head forward, which is where we want it. Now from here, it varies slightly depending on the instructor. Some instructors teach this as a elbow followed by a back elbow, then you do your cross out. Other instructors, once you get to this point, they do the elbow, but they follow through elbow, elbow. So it just depends. So you go with an inward and then an outward elbow. So it just depends on the instructor whether you're going to use an inward towards followed by a driving, or an inward outward elbow then cross out. The key point of that is you're going to elbow the guy in the face twice as you do the technique. So again, they come up and they grab, they're pushing and they pulling, and as they pull you in, you're going to pin and strike right at that nose. Just go right through the bridge of that nose. Then from there, that hand's going to come straight down, and you're going to drop that weight just a bit and get that strike to finish loosening up the hands if they're still there. Then you're going to use your elbow to strike in on the elbow, on the face, because you're already tight. And then you're going to drive back, or you're going to come across and do it the opposite direction, then follow the cross out. Okay, again, this is mace of aggression. The mace is the hand, and the aggressive part is we're stepping forward versus retreating, which is what we've done up to this point in yellow belt. So again, as they pull us in, we're going to pin and strike that nose. Now, some instructors teach the step in as a stomp to the instep of a foot. Now, I don't mind those kind of strikes. I just don't want students to focus on that. That's kind of like a bonus point for me. So as you step in and you stomp that foot, that's great. If you don't worry about it. Just continue going on with the technique. It's not that big part of it. So we pin and we strike and stomp if you can. Strike those arms down. Pull that head forward so he's right there in tight. It's what we call a short range. That's when we start using our elbows and knees. And we do an inward elbow, followed by an outward, or an inward followed by a drive, and then you cross out. Okay? So, let's go through these again from this angle. Actually, if we do it from this angle, I think it'll be easier to see, especially on checking the storm. As the overhead club comes in, we're going to get out of the point of contact, and we're going to check the arm using what we call a windmill or a double parry block. Then you're going to draw a cat, front snap kick, twist stance, knife edge, back knuckle, and cross out. The other way this is done is this one move is where you just extend it outward, and this hand at this time is going to come over here as a check to make sure that if they try to come over or under the arm, I mean not over but under the arm to get the ribs, you're protected. So you're going to come in here, you can even drop your elbow if you need to, and you're going to draw a cat, kick, twist, knife edge, back knuckle, cross out, and that's checking the storm. Then you have mace of aggression. There again, they're pushing and pulling, trying to get you off balance, off center. As they pull you forward, we're going to pin, stomp the foot at the same time. We're going to strike that nose. Then we're going to drive that hand straight down onto those arms. So the arms are going to be out like this, and then we're going to drive onto them, and that'll pull them in if they haven't already let go with the nose strike. If you do a good solid nose strike, they're going to let the hands go to bring them up to your face, in which case this is going to bring them back down so that we can get our elbow strikes in there. So depending on how we react will depend on what this forearm is going to do. It's either going to finish loosening the technique, or it's going to prevent those hands from coming to the face so that we can do our elbow strikes as we cross out. Okay? So that's mace of aggression and checking the storm. Those are your next two techniques in yellow belt. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I will be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. So until we meet again, keep moving forward, and I can't wait to see you in our next lesson.